Hello. Today we will be working on an introduction to significant digits. So I am going to calculate the area of this rectangle by measuring the length and the width, but I'm going to measure them with two different instruments. I am going to measure the length using a millimeter scale and the width using a centimeter scale. So I go to measure the length here, and my rule in taking any measurement is I record every digit that I know for certain. So my first digit here, 80 millimeters would be 8 centimeters. So we'll keep it in a centimeter measurement here. So that is 8 centimeters, that is 9 centimeters. So I know with 100% certainty, my first digit is an 8. So I record that. Now, I have more lines. So I keep going. This would be halfway between, would be 8.5, 8.6, 7, 8. And it looks like it's falling somewhere between 8.8 and 8.9. So if it's in between, that means it's past the line for 8.8. So that means I know with 100% certainty that the next digit is 8. It is at least 8.8. It's not quite to 8.9. It's about halfway in between though. And I want to be able to convey that. I can actually estimate, and you're expected to estimate one digit. So I think it's halfway between the 8.8 and the 8.9 line. I'm going to say 8.85. When we talk about significant digits, there are certain digits and uncertain digits, and then unknown digits. I knew the first 8 with 100% certainty. I had for a line for it. I also had a line for this 8. That I know with 100% certainty. I estimated this. This is a guess. That is an uncertain digit. After that, I don't know them, and if you don't know them, you cannot report them. You can only be as good as your instrument. So I go to measure the width. In this one, I'm going to use a lesser instrument. I'm going to measure the width with the centimeter scale. Doesn't have the smaller divisions. And I look at it, and I know for 100% certainty that the first digit is a 6. It's at least 6 centimeters, not quite to 7. Now I'm out of lines though. So my next digit is going to be my estimate. Again, you're required to take one estimate, but only one estimate. So I record my estimate here. It looks like it's not quite halfway, so I'll say maybe 6.3. Now, if you said 6.4, you're correct also. That is an estimate. You're given some leeway. Everybody that measures this, though, should get a 6. That we know for certain. This is an uncertain digit. These ones we do not know. They are unknown, so we don't report them. So I multiply these two numbers together to get the area. I take 8.85 times 6.3, and it comes out to 55.755. I'll record that. 55.755 centimeters squared. Now, you sometimes get really long numbers there, and you're asking, do I have to round that? Where should I round it to? Do I include all the ones that all the digits that my calculator gives me? You're finally going to get the answer to that question. Where do I round it? And the answer comes from your answers can only be as good as your worst measurement, as your worst data value. And in that case, it is the 6.3. The 6.3 was taken with a ruler that didn't have as many divisions, wasn't as certain as this one. So we would say that this number only has 2 digits that are significant. One certain, one uncertain, and then the rest are unknown, 2 significant ones. This one had 3 significant digits, certain, unknown, didn't know the rest, 3 certain digits. So the 3 significant digits. So I always have to round to the lesser of the 2. When I do that, I look at 2 significant digits, 3 significant digits. My answer, I go with my first 2 digits then. This, I know for certain. This is an estimate. The rest, I don't know for sure. These numbers were calculated assuming that this was a 0. Your calculator assumes that digit that's not reported as 0, and it may not have been. It could have been a 1, a 2. We just didn't have enough lines to guess. So this one's certain, this one's uncertain, the rest we don't know. Since this digit was greater than 5, we will round that. We can do that because it's an uncertain digit. So I would report the answer as 56 centimeters squared. 2 significant digits. That is where I would round my answer to. My answer can only be as good as my worst data value. You will take measurements like this regardless of whatever instrument you're using. Let's take this triple beam balance, for instance, and we'll measure the mass of this beaker. When I look at closely as it's balanced out, I would read this as, I know the first digit to be definitely a 9 for the 90. I know the next digit to be 97 because it's past the 7 line, 97.1, 0.2, and 0.3. It's past the 0.3 line, not quite to the 0.4. So 97.3, I know all of those lines for 100% certainty. I have a line for each of those. I'm asked to guess one more. So 97.3 looks like halfway between 0.35. 97.35 would be the reading in grams that I would take for the mass of this beaker.